Hey, it's Sean at Click Theory here. Today I was asked about making a product return and a customer refund in Odoo. So I'm going to go through how that's done. First thing we need, of course, is a sale. So I'm in the sales app here, and we have one red widget that is going to be sold to Wiley. So we'll just confirm this quotation, which will move it over to sales order status here. And we have this particular account set up so that it automatically invoices when the sales order is confirmed. So we already have an invoice, as you see here with the smart button. And there it is. And the other thing that I'd like to show you here as well first is that we also have an automation set up so that the delivery is automatically completed. So here's the delivery. Now the delivery is here, but it still needs to be validated. So once the item is shipped, then you can click validate on that delivery. And you can see that the delivery record is warehouse out, meaning that it's going out of the warehouse, of course. Then if we go back here to the sales order and take a look at the invoice, you can see that this is currently in draft status. Now, let's say in this case the customer had paid for this order, so we can confirm the invoice, and the payment is usually going to be made either at the terminal at the store, or potentially it could be with e-commerce, and then in that case the payment would automatically be registered. But in this case we're going to manually register it. Either way, there will be a payment registered there. Okay. So this is the status that we would have if an item was sold and paid for and the customer wanted to return the item. So now to return the item and create the refund, what you would normally do is you would go into your sales app, you would find that relevant sales order. I like to work from the sales order. You could go directly to the delivery, I suppose, but sales orders have everything attached to them nicely with these smart buttons, so it makes it nice and easy. The first thing we want to do is make sure we get the item back from the customer, and after that we want to refund the customer. Let's take care of the item first and return that to stock. So to do that, we're going to click on the smart button here for delivery. Here in delivery, we see that red widget that was sold, and it was one item, and the delivery was not validated, sorry. The reason we're getting this warning is I didn't click set quantities first, but we're okay with the quantity being, we've delivered all of them. If there was 2 items and you maybe only delivered 1, you would change that. So you can just click the button and then click the confirmation after. That's usually what I do. Okay, so there we go. So this is the status where we would start. So again, we would be in sales order. Let's just go back here, and then we would first return the item. So that's going to be the delivery smart button. You're going to see this, and you're just going to click return. You're going to get a pop-up, which is just a reverse transfer record. So the reason this pops up is it gives you an opportunity to make changes, like say there was more than one red widget and they only returned 1, or maybe they had multiple products and they're only returning the red widget. Things like that. So we're good with this as it is, so we can just click the return button. There we go. And now you can see that there's a new record created. So we were in warehouse out 82, and now there's a warehouse return number 5. So that's perfect. So we have the record here. It's not validated yet, so if there's any errors or anything, we can still handle it. And if you look at the bottom here, the transfer was created and the transfer is created from, so it gave it a number. So it's just giving you a little, it's just updating you there in the chatter. This looks good. Now again, you can click set quantities just like you would when the items were going out of the warehouse, but if you don't, you're just going to get the warning saying, hey, you're going to click this, we're going to return everything. That's fine. So there you go, you've now validated your return. And again, you can look down in chatter and you can say that the return went from ready, and then we validated it, and now it is done. The item is now back in stock. Now, if you wanted to, you could add a note here, or you could add a note in Chatter if you like. That's an optional step, but really probably where it probably doesn't matter unless there was damage on the item or something. Then you would have to handle this in a different way because you would have to do something with the damaged item. But in this case, there's really nothing notable. However, you're going to want to know why the transaction return happened, so you're going to want to add a note there, but Odoo makes that pretty easy. So we've returned our product. Now let's go back to our sales order. And now we need to refund the customer. Now, refunding the customer is going to be done on whatever payment method they used, of course. So if it's cash, you're going to hand them cash. If it was on your terminal in the store, then you're going to do the return that way. And in the case of e-commerce, it will be probably an online payment provider. So you're going to go there to do that return. However, you want to make sure that you have the records in here, and I would do this first, and then I would go over and complete the return as well on the third-party payment processor. So just like returning the product, there's 3 steps here. You're going to go to the invoice, and you're going to want to add a credit note. Here it's going to ask you, why are you returning this? And it could be whatever. Customer ordered too many. And then just click the reverse button. And now you want to make sure this looks okay. It does. You can confirm it. So you've now confirmed that return. Now there is the payment to the customer. So it's reminding you to do this as well. So go to your payment processor or wherever you need to do that and refund the customer. And then you can just click on register payment. And you can see that it's going to reconcile this back to your bank. Something to think about here, I suppose, is if that payment has not yet hit your bank, and actually in this case with the fellow who was dealing with this today, the payment had not yet processed from the credit card processor, and that means that he was able to just void the payment. So what will happen here is this is going to create a return record, and it's going to add that return to the bank journal. So it's okay. It can be sorted out by your bookkeeper. I'm sure they would be able to figure it out. But optionally as well, in that particular case, I suppose if you wanted, you could just delete the invoice. But to do things the same each time, I think, and I mean ask your bookkeeper, but I think it would be fine just to register the payment back, and then it's always the same process. So here we would just create payment. There we go. This looks similar to an invoice, except you can see that it's a customer credit note, and you can see up here that it is the reversal of this invoice. And down here where you would normally see the payment transaction, you're going to see the journal entry info instead. So you can see the reason that you put in there and everything. So it's all good. Now, if you made a mistake, you have an opportunity to unreconcile it and fix things up. But you should be good. That is the steps to do this return. Now, let's just go through this one more time without adding all the context, just to make sure that it's a little bit more clear, I guess, in a more fluid scenario. There we go. So we'll add the red widget here again. Okay. So here's our sale. We're going to confirm the sales order. And because we're doing this one manually, we're going to want to make sure we confirm the delivery. Yes, we want to validate everything. Then let's head over to the invoice and just confirm the invoice, and we'll register the payment. And in this case, let's say it was, I don't know, Clover debit, sure. Okay, so there, we have our sale. So go back into the sales order, customer changes their mind, they want to return it, so you're going to return the item, and then you're going to refund the customer and make sure that you've tracked that refund in Odoo. So let's go to the delivery and do a return. Everything is cool, so we'll click return. And here we go. Now we got to validate it. You could click set quantities, but you're good with everything. I don't need to change any quantities, so I'm just going to click validate and apply. And you can see your breadcrumbs up here now. You've got the warehouse out from your original shipment, and you have the warehouse return from the return. So that is good to go. Now, head back to your sales order, and let's take care of refunding the customer. So you're going to go to your invoice. It is a paid invoice. You're going to change this to a credit note. You're going to give a reason. Hates it. And you're going to reverse. There you go. So now have a draft credit note. If everything looks okay, you can confirm that credit note. And now you want to go to, in this case it was Clover debit, so you're going to do the whole ask the customer for their debit card, refund them on your Clover machine. And now that you've done that, you can let your future self or your bookkeeper know that you've already given the customer the refund. So you'll register the payment, and it can be, I mean, maybe you give them cash back instead, I suppose, but ideally you're going to use the same method. You're going to create that. There you go. There's your journal entry. This reversal, so this credit note is paid back to the customer. Everything is hunky-dory. Your chatter here has all of the information in there.